Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? A happy Tuesday to you, happy game day to you for the Boise State men's basketball team. That'll be the primary focus of today's show as Boise State hosts Fresno State, 7 o'clock tonight on Fox Sports 1. Tickets still available, Extra Mile Arena in downtown Boise. Make sure you're subscribed to that YouTube channel as well, Bronco Nation News YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. So while you're here, go ahead and take care of that and just hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. We would appreciate that. It's Tuesday, so as always, our Tuesday guest is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Jay, happy Tuesday, man.
Happy Tuesday. Looking forward to another fun night over at Extra Mile Arena to cap this evening.
As I mentioned, 7 o'clock tonight, Fox Sports 1 is the game for Boise State and Fresno State. We'll have full coverage, BroncoNationNews.com. That Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show starts about 6 o'clock or so. I know KTVB will have you covered all night as well. And, Jay, it's one of those weird games because I guess, you know what, first of all, let's start with the New Mexico-Nevada game last night. That was a very interesting game, double overtime. Nevada gets the win, which I think was probably the better outcome for the Mountain West and for the computer rankings. You get Nevada to get the win and not a lot of movement. Didn't think there would be, but not a lot of movement in the net rankings. Nevada holds steady, I think. And then I think the net was -1 for New Mexico. But overall, I think that was probably the better result for the league for the home team to win there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs, but I feel like that's the case. I mean, it's just because, yeah, as you know, like if you're like Boise State, like it's just better to defend your home court because you have a chance of getting a quad 1 win on the road. It's kind of hard to explain, but I definitely feel you on that one. I think it's better.
I think you just want both teams to stay a little higher than have one maybe go up a little, but one come down further. So I think both of them holding steady was probably the desired outcome there. Now, I did get into it on social media with some folks about storming the court. Good to know that our friend Justin Schultz agrees with me, though. I did get a message from him saying that he agreed with me, by the way. So I think there's a lot of people out there because he liked my tweet I saw, which I assume means he agrees with me. But I don't know. I guess I'm old school, Jay. I think it should be a top 10 team. It should be a conference championship. It should be your biggest rival that's ranked, number 12. They were ranked. They were 25th. And come on, I don't know. You were favored to win the game. Like Nevada was favored. Nevada was supposed to win. So for me, I didn't get the court storming thing last night.
Just for fun, I'm going to take the opposite side. Especially, I was going to take your side, but now that I know that Justin Schultz is on your side, I'm definitely going to the opposite side.
By the way, didn't Wyoming also storm the court? I heard against Colorado State the other day on Saturday.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting court storming because it was like they let the cows out of the barn. Like they just kind of moseyed on out. It's not like they were so excited and just burst out to center court or anything like that. It was almost like they were all kind of looking at each other like, oh, do we do this? Yeah. Yep, we're doing it. Yay. It's been a weird season in Wyoming. That was their first conference win. whatever. As far as last night goes, I'm gonna guess that the game itself probably kind of enticed fans to do that. And like if it ended in regulation and Nevada, wins by 3, I don't know if they do it. But considering they probably should have lost in regulation, they probably should have lost in overtime. And then in the second overtime, they kind of have like it almost looked like they were going to lose. And then there was a call that kind of changed the outcome of the game. And I just think like probably
the right call, in my opinion.
I think it was the right call too. I really do. And I mean, I wanted to say on when I was tweeting about it afterwards, I wanted to say something like a controversial call, but I think that like allows people to interpret that. And I think you just see controversial, and you're like, oh, that's negative, right? Like he doesn't agree. But I actually kind of do agree with it, and I'm not even sure that a New Mexico player was necessarily fouled. He had a lot of bodies around him. But I don't think like he was obviously fouled. And then, I mean, if anything, like he kind of let the moment get to him a little bit, because he did. Not only did he kind of go up with an arm, but he kind of pushed off too. And it sucks that game was decided like that. Like I will admit that. But also, like if you're the official, like you have to make a call if you believe it's the right call. And I just. Sucks for New Mexico, man, but I do believe that was the right call as well.
Well, big one tonight for Boise State, and we'll talk about what last night's game meant to the standings and a lot of that stuff here, in a minute or two. But Marcus Shaver Jr., he did speak with the media, Jay, yesterday. Before we kind of give our thoughts and dive into this game, I wanted to play a little bit of Marcus Shaver Jr. Meeting with the media, and I thought some interesting stuff about his health as well, which we'll talk about after we hear from Marcus.
It was a tough one, man. We knew it was going to be a dog fight, but two great teams going at it. We knew somebody had to lose. Hate to lose that way, but yeah, we just got to put it behind us and move on to the next one.
You said like you didn't, you don't think you've been playing good. Like, what is your assessment right now of trying to manage your health, but also helping the team?
I mean, I've been shooting it terrible from the field. I got to be more efficient. I feel like, I haven't been healthy at all, so that's another big part. And I feel like I just haven't been myself out there, really. And once I get healthy, everything's going to fall into place, so just waiting for that.
How do you get back to yourself, or is it just health?
It's just health. I mean, it's hard playing injured, really, and it affects your mental health. It affects your confidence, and once I get healthy, I mean, we'll be fine.
How are you able to try to get healthy when these games keep coming, right after one after the other?
Just load management and just being consistent in the training room, really, just taking care of my body, and just little stuff like that.
Assume you're probably not practicing a ton then. That means, does that make it harder too in the games if you're missing practice time? Or?
Oh, for sure, but I mean, I've been in college for a long time. I know how to play basketball, but I still practice, but yeah.
How would you say that you've done as a point guard and a distributor this year? You said the shot's not where you want, but your assists and your steals and your other numbers are good.
I feel like I could average more assists. I got to keep my turnovers down. I feel like I'm giving the ball away too much, but I still got to get more assists.
You've talked about the things that you don't think you've been good at, but I mean, you still look at your plus minus these last couple of weeks, and it's been pretty impressive. Like, where have you thought, like, all right, man, my health isn't good, but I think I'm doing this good?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in college for a while, like I said, so you got to affect the game in different ways. So if I can't score, I'm going to do different things to help my team win, so.
Well, there you heard Marcus Shaver Jr. and Jay basically admitting that he's playing with an injury. It sounds like it's a high ankle sprain, doing what he can to push through it. He says he's hoping to continue to get healthier. The scoring maybe hasn't been quite as high of a scoring in some games we would have thought, but you've got Max Rice, some other guys taking over with the scoring. But certainly the assists, the lack of turnovers, the rebounds, he's maybe not moving quite as quick, quite as much, jumping his step out there, but he's still doing a lot in other ways than not just scoring right now. You're muted, Jay. There you go.
I was double checking a stat right there. Because he brought up the fact he might be turning the ball over too much. Man, Marcus has been.
No, I said
good.
he's not turning the ball over.
Yeah, I know, but he said he's got to watch his turnovers, and I was like,
oh,
yeah, I wanted to double check there because last I had him over the last few games, he's got like a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Like he's been pretty good with the basketball lately. So I know that's just kind of an example of how hard Marcus is on himself and how much he expects of himself. Because I would disagree. I think he's been doing a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball, especially with what they ask him to do at times, on offense and having an injury that he's playing through right now. So it's really tough. Like there's just not many breaks. I mean, if you look at it right now, the next, bye that Boise State gets is basically that first week of February after they play San Diego State. They get a little bit of a break before they play again. I believe it's almost like a 8-day break.
Yeah, Friday night at San Diego State, and not till the following Saturday, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be an area of time that is crucial to a guy like Marcus Shaver Jr. to rest up, heal, and get ready for what's going to be the last 5-6 weeks of his college basketball playing career, and a really important 5 or 6 weeks. Marcus is impacting the game in a lot of ways, and I was looking at guard play and how Boise State has been really good at defending opposing guards. That changed a little bit in the second half of the New Mexico game when Jamal Mashburn Jr. got hot, and Jalen House also, once he finally got on the floor because he was in foul trouble, he made a few buckets as well. But for the most part this season, guards have not been very efficient against Boise State, especially in Mountain West Conference play. So Marcus is definitely impacting the game in a number of ways outside of just scoring the basketball.
Hey, don't forget to download the new Bronco Nation News app. Daily coverage of Boise State athletics right at your fingertips on your phone, whether it's an Android or an Apple iPhone. We got them for both stores. Go on there and download the new app at Bronco Nation News. Just search for it in your app store, and it takes you back to the website, and we are really happy with how it turned out so far. We'll be updating it as we move along as well. We are broadcasting from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. Pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. We want to thank a couple of our sponsors here, rowpaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. They got that promo code going, their winter special right now. BNN15 is the promo code, BNN15. So use that promo code and you can get 15% off the interior painting of your home. Lithia Ford of Boise, I'm actually heading there to get an oil change later today. Jay, there's a new and better way to get exactly what you want in a new Ford car or truck. Custom order your own from the bottom up. The style, colors, features you want. If it feels like it's made for you, that's because it is. Your Ford, your way. And of course, our friends over at Idaho Central Credit Union as well. They do a tremendous job. I'm so happy with the online banking, and they offer banking for the whole family, whether it's teaching your kids lifelong saving habits, keeping an eye on their online spending, or financing the family car. ICCU has everything your family needs to achieve financial success. See how ICCU is smart banking, family style at ICCU.com. Jay, we talked about it last week. We kind of dove into the numbers and the deep dive on everything, and we heard a lot of comments from people that it was one of their favorite shows. What do you make of a week later or whatever it is, a couple days later, where things kind of currently sit here? The numbers are still pretty good. That New Mexico win would have just been so huge for a lot of reasons. I think would have taken any doubt out, at least for the time being, about the tournament and things like that. Still think they're in a pretty good spot, but I mean, you look at all the metrics. They were top 25 in pretty much everything, and yet they got 2 votes in the AP poll. Were you one of the 2?
I was not one of the 2.
Okay.
And
I think Jeff Grammer might have had him 24th.
He did, yeah. He counted for both points. Which, I mean, that's just one of those things that it's so close right now. And I said that if Boise State would have won that game, that I would have put him in my top 25. And man, I thought about it for a really, really long time, and I still don't like the fact. I probably need to be more bold. I mean, you've dealt with this before in the past too. Straight up, you don't want to be viewed as the homer that just roots for the basketball, or that votes for the basketball team you cover, and that's what perception might be. But at the same time, we get to see this team more than anybody. So I also kind of feel like it's our responsibility to educate those that don't get to see this team routinely. And so they're certainly close still, though. And if you look at, Boise State's next 3 games, if they, heck, even if they sweep this week, I think there's another chance that they could bump in inside the top 25. what the real head scratcher is for me is, you look at John Rothstein and he puts out a top 45. And I know he ranked, I'm pretty sure he had New Mexico fairly high, or at least in his top 25 of that 45. And he didn't have Boise State in his top 45. And then Andy Katz puts together a 1 through 36, and he had New Mexico at 20, and he didn't have Boise State in his top 36. And I just think that this is not a knock on New Mexico, because I think New Mexico is a really good basketball team. I think they're worthy of being ranked in the top 25 last week. I ranked them in the top 25 last week. But if you're saying to me that Boise State is, anywhere from 16 to 20 spots worse than New Mexico, I really disagree with that. Like, I don't know how you come to that conclusion, because that's not the case. To go to the pit, not necessarily even play necessarily your best game. You go 5 for 24 from three, your worst shooting performance percentage-wise from three all season, and you lose by 2 in overtime. I don't know how you come to that conclusion that, Boise State is anywhere from 16 to 20 spots worse than New Mexico. I really disagree with that. But I think Boise State, they're playing good basketball right now. And if you look at their losses, even going back to last year, the only non-quad one loss they have was against Colorado State here in Boise. Colorado State ended up 35th in the net rankings. Top 30 would qualify that game as a quad one victory. And so all of their losses have been either super close. Their 5 losses since the beginning of last year have been by 2 in overtime, 3 in overtime, and by 7 points. And they're the only team in the Mountain West Conference that hasn't lost a game by double figures in conference play in that span. So they're extremely consistent. They're extremely resilient. They're extremely tough. They just, like, it goes back to the consistency. They prove it on a nightly basis. And so I've been really impressed with what Boise State has done. And I think they're really close still, BJ, because there's a lot of teams just hanging around the outside of that top 25 that probably deserve some recognition. And it's a weird year, man. It is, because, I mean, in all honesty, do I think Charleston's a top 25 team, like, at the end of the year? I don't. I don't. But you look at their body of work, and, like, if we're trying to boast up Boise State's body of work, then I can't discredit Charleston's body of work. And right now, they just don't lose. They have 1 loss on the season, and so
Florida Atlantic is it too?
Yeah, Florida Atlantic only has 1 loss. So I will say this, though. If either of those teams lose one game, there's a good chance that they probably fall outside of the top 25.
Yeah, they just don't have the quad one. They don't have the opportunities to begin with, but they don't have the one. You look at, I think Florida Atlantic's like 9-0 in quad 4 or something.
Yeah, Charleston, last I looked, was 12-0 in quad 4.
Okay.
And so that's where they're picking up a lot of their victories. And, in comparison, it's so tough because, as you know, BJ, when you make arguments on Twitter, when you put stuff out there, there are people that come back at you, especially when you have an AP vote, and you're like, yeah, but Boise State doesn't have any quad 1 wins. Yeah, but they couldn't be closer to having 3 of them, right? Like,
and their quad 4 loss is literally one number in the net away from moving to quad 3.
It is, and so that's why it's like, it's funny you say that, because in that same reply, somebody said, and Boise State has a quad 1 loss, and it's like, they are literally 1 spot away from losing that quad 1 loss.
But it is quad 4 right now. I mean, it is what it is.
It is, but that's what I mean, is that I'm guilty of it too, because when I look at other teams around the country, I can't go through every single game for every single team and see, man, they don't have any quad 1 wins, but they're really, really close to having 3 of them, and so that's why, like, the other day, I combined the stat of quad 1 and quad 2 wins,
which a lot of people do too. And
if you look at that, Boise State's tied for 5th in the country, and I know that it kind of diminishes the fact that a lot of those teams have a lot of quad 1 victories, but damn, man, Boise State is really, 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 really close to having 3 of them. And those really closes are Nevada's at 33. They just have to go up 3. Utah State's at 34. They'd have to go up 4. Texas A&M is at 52. They have to climb 2. And then it's that simple. Boise State has 3 quad 1 victories.
Yep. It is weird to me, though, because, and I will say this, like, I mean, 3 weeks ago, Boise State was like number 55 or 60 in some of these metrics. I mean, they had two huge wins back to back versus Utah State and UNLV, which jumped them like 35 spots or something in 2 games.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've been some top 20 team all season. I mean, they were they won 2 games huge, and the efficiency numbers were awesome in that game. So a lot of these computer metrics when you add it all in, but it was crazy to me in 2 games. They went from like 55 at Ken Palm to 26 or whatever. I mean, it was a pretty quick jump. I will say that. And so a lot of people are a little behind in looking and seeing, oh, Boise State's top 25. It is a little interesting that every single metric has them, top 25, and yet one person out of 66 voted for him in the AP poll. And I will say this, Jeff Grammer was at the game. I was at the game. If I had already voted for him, and this is no knock on you or any other voter, I mean, I would have had, me personally, and I don't have the vote anymore, and I'm thankful that I don't. And again, I haven't studied the other. That's the problem. Everybody's like, oh, you got to rank them. Well, there's 10 other teams that are like in that 20 to 30 range that probably all won too. So it's not that easy. But I would have had a hard time not voting for Boise State after seeing that game.
Yep.
And I will say this: I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of the homer aspect. I mean, I never wanted to be the only one to rank them. So I'd be texting Graham or one of these guys, you ranking for him this week? You ranking him? Because I didn't want to be the only one. But a lot of those times was where they'd be 17-1 or whatever, or 17-2, but they'd still be in the 30s or 40s in a lot of these rankings. Right now, I think when they're top 25 at Ken Palm, at Bart Torvik, and the net, I think you could easily I see why you don't, and I totally get that, but I think anyone that wanted to could totally justify that. And it is a shame because if they would have won that New Mexico game, they probably would have been ranked. And I think they go from maybe being ranked to 2 votes. Pretty crazy.
I don't know if Boise State would have just been ranked. I think they would have been ranked like 20th. I probably would have had them that high in my ballot. And it sucks that 2 points is the difference. But, it's also little things like this too, BJ. Like there's a ton of people that had St. Mary's in front of New Mexico this week. And New Mexico literally won on St. Mary's home floor this year. So and they have a better record overall. I know that St. Mary's
game was 2 months ago or whatever. I mean, there's some factors in play, but I get it.
St. Mary's is top 10 in the net at the same time. So, but so you can point a number of directions. I had New Mexico in front of St. Mary's because I had St. Mary's at 21. New Mexico ended up at 20 on my ballot. I got one of those little lines that said that your poll is 5 off, so it seems like an extreme vote for New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
But you also look at the Mountain West versus where it stacks up in college basketball this season. An average net ranking, only the Big 12. The Big 12 is the only conference in America right now that has more teams in the top 35 of the net than than the Mountain West does. When you look at their average net ranking, they're ahead of the ACC. They're ahead of the Pac-12. They're way ahead of the American Conference. I mean, there's big boy basketball being played in the Mountain West this year. And I still think like the computers are like, yeah, we know what's up, but the human element is still kind of coming around. It's interesting to me that San Diego State's getting a lot more votes than Boise State. I don't feel like the gap is that wide, but also like we talked about last week, BJ, I think this is like the Boise State football team where if you have a 10-win San Diego State team and a 10-win Boise State team, just naturally, I think the votes will gravitate towards Boise State because they're national brand, and they've just been doing it for longer, right? Like they have Fiesta Bowl wins and all that stuff. And so I think that like on the flip side of this, San Diego State gets a little bit of that benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying San Diego State's a bad team, by the way. I'm just saying like you look at their resumes, and I don't know why that gap is so big. Luckily for us, a little over a week, they just get to settle it on the court for round 1 of Viejas, and then we'll wait for early is it late February or early March, whatever it is, to where that thing's
senior night. The last two home games for Boise State are New Mexico and San Diego State. So it could be a lot on the line to finish the regular season. Hey, if you're looking for a new job, how about truck driving? Transcomservice.com. Jump into the trucking industry. It's a booming industry right now with the pandemic, and they can help you with all the permits and things to get you out there towing that first load in no time. Check them out, transcomservice.com. I'm going to see Dr. Meinert tomorrow, actually, BoiseDentistryCode.com. Check them out. Locations across the Treasure Valley, full family dentistry. So if you're looking for your kids, your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever, they can take care of your whole family. They'll put the appointments back to back so you can go in there and then be done for your 6 months or whatever it is. Very friendly staff, the newest technology. I highly recommend BoiseDentistryCo.com. Looking for business insurance? United Commercial Insurance, 229-8222. Check them out. They make business insurance easy. And they can write policies in 44 states around the country, as I said. So make sure you check them out at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Ridley's Family Markets. Go download the Ridley's app and then take it to your location near you for some exclusive savings. Love that Cuno location. Been to the Star one as well. Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. Find a location near you. Go download the Ridley's app for those exclusive savings. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Looking for that Boise State gear for the upcoming games this week. I think tonight's a blue out, or at least supposed to wear blue tonight, at least for the students. Theblueandorangestore.com. $40 order gets you free shipping at theblueandorangestore.com. And again, it's right there at the Boise Town Square Mall. You can go in there on the second floor. If you're a Boise State fan, it's heaven. You walk in, the entire store is Boise State gear, hats, shirts, jerseys, all kinds of trinkets and bumper stickers and everything else you might want. Check them out at the Blue and Orange Store. And, of course, Matt Bauscher. Bauscher Real Estate, the number one ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher. No home is too big or too small for Matt Bauscher and his team. Let him take care of you at BauscherRealEstate.com. And we'll be taking care of a winner, picking a player of the game tonight after the game, the Bauscher Real Estate player of the game. And, Jay, after we finish up here, I am headed out to one of our awesome sponsors, Timberstone Golf Course. I'm getting a private lesson today with Tad Holloway, and looking forward to being able to talk about that. PlayTimberstone.com, Timberstone Golf Course, and I'm going to get a private lesson, work on my game a little bit. We're also hoping, Jay, to finalize the details for the second annual Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, which we will hopefully be able to announce soon. But I'll be out at Timberstone today. If you want to go get a lesson, work on your game, check them out, PlayTimberstone.com. Final 3-4 minutes here. We got a lot of comments that have been rolling in, Jay, and we've kind of neglected those to this point. So let's go back and check some of those. Let's see here. How many Boise State fans making fun of the court storm have actually stormed the court at Boise State? Probably not many.
Yeah, there's not many.
They might have tried to last year. Not sure if they made it or not. Brent says, don't know if they storm it if it's a double OT win.
That's what I'm with Brent on that one.
Wyoming's court storming last year annoyed. The one against Boise State was probably warranted. Boise State was on a 14-game winning streak, maybe. Let the kids live. Derek disagrees with me on this. That's fine. I get it. Utah State multiple times. Great memories. I get it. Rudy. Oh, there we go, Rudy. Court storming has become the new participation ribbon. Make it count for something. I like that. As the program gets better, court storming should be rare. I mean,
it is extremely rare at Boise State. Like it really only does happen for conference championships. So the only thing I will say, I mean, like, you get fined if you storm the court, BJ?
I don't know how they do it. I know in the SEC it is like a $25,000 fine or something. Yeah.
Usually a court storm, though, it gets national attention, whether it be on social media or on, SVP late at night. They'll say, hey, Boise, Idaho, they upset or beat so-and-so. Kids are on the court, and you'll see the court full of kids or whatever. So come on. I mean, let's just be honest here. You're jaded. You went to Kansas. When you're in the top 10 for your whole life, anybody you beat is going to be worse than you.
There's been 2 court storms in the last 40 years, and they were both for watch parties when they won the national championship game.
Yeah.
All the fans went down on the court.
That's what I mean, though. That's like anybody you beat is worse than you, so why storm the court?
There was one time we beat Texas, and it was a really close game or something, and a couple drunk frat guys tried to run on the court, and everyone booed them off real quick, and they ran back off. Yeah, we just don't do that. I get it. And I don't know. I let the kids have fun. Like, I get it. I totally agree. I feel like court storming is like a big deal. Like, it's not something you just do every game. Like, it should be like for special occasions. And I don't think a double overtime win over the number 25 ranked team when you were favored in the game is a special occasion. I'm not against court stormings. I just want them to be for big time situations, which I didn't think that was.
I think last night was a big time situation.
Okay.
I think it could be easily argued.
Tanner says quad 4, quad 3, quad 3, next 3 games. Need to focus, take care of business. Resume killers looming. And that is kind of the storyline this week, Jay. And frankly, you got to look at that KenPom number. And I hate to say it, but you got to try to, it's kind of like the Mighty Ducks, who was the coach of the Hawks. It's not worth winning if you can't win big. I mean, you really do need to not just win, but win rather easily, at least these next 2 games.
your next three, basically. I mean, like, this is the point of Boise State's schedule where they can breathe a little easy, but that just might mean giving, maybe some of your starters a couple more minutes off here and there. This is the stretch of basketball that can really hurt your resume come Selection Sunday, like especially these home games against quad 3, quad 4 teams. We've seen how long South Dakota State's loss has kind of hung over Boise State's head. That's almost going to evaporate here, but these are the games that you have to win if you're an at-large team on Selection Sunday. If you don't win the Mountain West tournament, these are the games that people will point to, on that committee and say, we'll bump them down a seed line, or we'll send them to Dayton, or we won't include them all together because of what they did against a 7-11 Fresno State team on January 24th.
Especially at home. Got to win your home games in this league.
You see that, PJ? I was looking at the standings this morning. There's a clear separator. There are 5 really, really good basketball teams in this league. And, you could see in the standings where those 5 are. Look at the home records of those 5 compared to the other 6 teams in the league, and you'll see why they're elite. Nevada hasn't lost at home. New Mexico has 1 loss at home. Boise State has 1 loss at home, and it was a season opener. Utah State has a loss at home. All the teams that are in the upper half of this league, they have defended their home court this year.
Brent says, pack the X tonight. Final comment. We'll go to Sam for the final comment. Keep seeing comments on social media implying the Mountain West teams are downgraded in rankings because of their bad tournament history. That to me seems ridiculous. Rank them on what they've done this year. I think I would agree with that. I would not necessarily agree with that. I don't think that some guy is thinking, the Mountain West went 0-4 in last year's tournament. We can't rank them in this week's AP poll. I don't think that has anything to do with it. And frankly, I don't think it has much to do with them going 0-4 when it comes to the selection committee. They look at this year's rankings, this year's teams. I don't think that they're going to go, well, we can't put 4 in this year because even though they deserve it, they went 0-4 last year. Let's only give them 3. I could be wrong. I'm not in those meetings. I just don't think that's not how it's supposed to be. They say last year and previous years has nothing to do with how it does. I will say name recognition and brand has something to do with it. I was looking at a tweet from Bart Torvik yesterday, I think it was, and he compared his top 25 to the AP top 25, and he said, not surprising that there's 4 differences, and the AP poll has 4 more Power 5s in there, and his rankings have 4 more mid-majors. So I do think there is some bias for the Power 5 teams.
100%.
A lot of these voters are on the East Coast. They probably don't even see a lot of these late games. I do agree with that part of it. But in terms of the Mountain West in itself not being as good last year impacting this year, maybe I'm just, a cynic or something, but I don't buy that part.
No, I agree. And I'll just be honest. I fell victim to it as well. I actually gave Duke my 25th spot in the poll this week, and I didn't love it. I didn't like it. But that, it's hard not to think like, it's Duke. They'll figure it out, And then I watched last night's game at Vautech, and they lose to a 1-7, Virginia in ACC play. And the ACC overall is down this year. That's what the net ranking averages suggest. It's below the Mountain West. And, I ended up putting Duke in, and, it is what it is. There have been a few other teams that I have neglected to put in, and then usually they lose the following Monday or Tuesday. And that feeling, BJ, you're like, yes, I didn't put them in. They lost, and other people did. And
you want to go find that Cincinnati message board and be like, I told you, suckers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, I was on the opposite end of that stick last night watching Duke play. I was like, man, I don't know. I didn't feel great about it. I put them in, and I probably let their prestige and their name kind of be the ultimate tiebreaker for me. So it is what it is.
Hey, don't forget the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're trying to make the push over 2,000 subscribers. We're about 35 away, so tell your friends and subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's free and easy. And speaking of free and easy, download our new app. The new app is available in both the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Go download that today, and then you'll have it on your desktop so you can get quick access to Bronco Nation News. It is game day, as we said. We'll have the pregame show starting around 6 o'clock tonight for the pregame show. We'll have the postgame show as well, full coverage during the game. And I know KTVB will have it covered as well on the news. 7 o'clock games. We'll be able to get some posts on the news at 10 tonight probably, right, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. I'm going in.
Another off day. Jay's giving up to cover BSU hoops. Look at this.
They're a fun team to cover, and so we'll switch some other stuff around. But it's definitely worth going down to cover them, especially with the way that they've been playing. And everybody, Max Rice been watch out for him tonight. He's been killing it at home this year, averaging 14 points per game. He's shooting it at almost 50% from behind the arc in home games this year, finishing double figures in 8 of 9 home games this year. Max has been playing super, super well at home. And a guy like Tyson Degenhart, you could probably put him on the moon and he's just going to average what he averages. But Max has been a dude that's been playing really well at home.
Blake says home court very important this year than it has been. Even Vegas heavily backing home teams. So Boise State, 2 home games this week. Got to take care of business starting tonight. And again, it would be their preference if they could win by at least 14, even though I think the Vegas spread is only around 11.
Yeah, 11 and a half I saw. Look, I think Fresno tries to go so slow on offense. I mean, they're one of the more deliberate offenses in the country. They're like 342 out of 363 teams and, adjusted offensive tempo. They're not a great offensive team. Play okay defense, not great on offense. I think you look for Boise State to try to push things a little bit tonight. So I don't believe that Fresno State can score 75, 80 points against Boise State. I think it's damn near impossible for them offensively this year.
Yep, and BSU in the first of the last 4 byes, according to Joe Lenardi in the updated brackets. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. Jay, thanks for your time as always. And I was trying to wrap this up about 5 minutes ago. I always look up and we're at 36 minutes. So I apologize, Jay, as always. But we'll see you down at Extra Mile Arena tonight. Jay has agreed to waive his autograph fee tonight. So if you see Jay, you may even have the glossy photos in the back pocket tonight. Bring a Sharpie and he'll be happy to sign for you. Take a picture with the kids, kiss some babies, whatever you need. So
I don't know what happened to BJ, but I think that does it for today's show. Check out BNN, Bronco Nation News.
Hit the back, hit the back.
For BNN Live and BNN.com and BJ Rains, this is Bronco Nation Live. Enjoy the game, everybody.